What is going on out there, peeps? All right, we're going to get into Iraq. Plus, I have to do a little cleaning up again. So we'll get into that here in just a second. In case you didn't notice yesterday, there was kind of a little bit of a plunge on, not a lot because then all of a sudden a rebound, just a little. But right now, silver's down a pretty good chunk compared to where it was. Buy on the dip. Now's the time. Now's a great time to store up a little bit. You're probably getting about $2 to $3 cheaper an ounce than before. So buy on the dip. Okay, hopefully you guys are watching my gold and silver videos so you can know what's going on. If you decide to buy some precious metals, please give our friends over at Money Metal Exchange a consideration. The link is in the description. If you buy more than $100 worth of precious metals, please use promo code Pimpy, Pimpy, and get a free half ounce of silver. If you already got that free half ounce, you won't get another. Pimpy's Investment Chat. You got the same name as the YouTube channel. Come on over here on Facebook and join us. And here we talk about investment opportunities, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. All right, no politics. You guys have been doing fairly good about that, and I'm happy about that. So there's no arguments in here. It's about investments only. So thank you. But you could bring all of your politics over here to the hidden things in front of your eyes. Over here, we do talk about QAnon, NESARA, GESARA, politics, current events, 9/11, false flag events, chemtrails, the whole 9 yards. Just be respectful of one another. For those of you who do not have Facebook, I do have a Twitter. And the link will be in the description, so come on over here and join us. All right, before I get into the news a little bit, I have to do some cleanup work here, man. Lately, I keep finding that I'm having to respond to what other people are saying in their videos. Okay, so people are like, weren't we told that on September the 15th, the rate change will happen? I was like, yeah, I know. Weren't we told that on the 18th, the rate change is going to happen? Yeah, I know. Weren't we told on the 2020 budget we would see a rate change? Yeah, I know. I didn't tell you guys that. Other people did. See, this is why I try to avoid the dates and the rates, because it's all speculation. The best anybody could do, and the weird thing is these people who are claiming to have insider information and are not happening. That's why I tell you guys, when they say, hey, I got intel or I got insider information, and they give you a specific date and it doesn't happen, that's why I keep telling you guys, when they tell you something, to tell them, where's the proof? You know what I mean? That's why I leave my links in the description so you can see what I'm talking about. Because the truth of the matter is, I might be reading something one way, you might read it another. So it's good to have dialogue. Say, hey, Pimpy, I think you misunderstood what this meant. Take a look at it this way. And I'll go back and read it. I go, hey, you're right. The whole purpose of this is so we can have open dialogue, all right? So I understand there are other YouTubers out there. There is a bunch of stuff being said right now. I get it. That's their channel. I can't do anything about it. A lot of you guys don't bring it to my attention saying, hey, they're saying this, and you get excited. But what did I say? Do not get excited, even if it's good news, and don't get down if it's bad news. All you could do is just wait and see. Look, if people throw enough crap up against the wall, sooner or later, something's bound to stick and go, see, I told you all along. No. You can sit here and lie all day, every day, making promises, making dates, giving rates, and if they don't happen, then all of a sudden one day it does. No, it's not that you were right. You were just guessing. All right? So a lot of you, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Even if the news came out and told you there was a date, which it wouldn't do that, I'm just saying, you can feel excited about it. But here's the point I would say that you should get excited. You should start to feel excited when you hear that an official rate change has been announced and you're happy with it. Yay! You should feel excited on the way to do the bank. Yay! Go to the bank. You should feel excited when you turn it over and then they go ahead and tell you what the rate change is, and then you see them make the deposit in your account. Yay! You should be really excited once the transaction is complete and you actually can confirm that the money is now in your account. That's when you should be excited. Because here's something you guys need to think about. Even if they did a rate change today, Until they remove the restrictions out the money, we cannot go in and exchange it here in the United States. There's nowhere to exchange it at that rate, whatever the rate is. You understand what I'm saying? So there's other things that have to fall into place. Wait, I take that back. I do believe JP Morgan, Chase Bank, and some locations will allow you to come in and make the exchange. So let me make a correction there. But the point being, look, everybody is doing their best to give an educated, well, not everybody. Some people are just flat out lying and some people are just flat out guessing. But for the most part, I try to bring an educated perspective from this, and that is we can take a look at all the evidence, get an idea of when it might happen, but the truth is nobody knows. Obviously, these people are claiming to have insider information. I don't care what kind, whether it's military, White House, CBI, whatever the crap they're saying. Obviously, their so-called intel is inaccurate. They keep giving dates, and then what happens after they come back behind them and say to you guys, look, I understand it didn't happen. That's why you got to be careful. There's nothing wrong with listening to other people's information. You know what I mean? That's what I encourage you guys to do. But be very careful when they make some very over-promising predictions. Okay? Try to avoid that. Then it gets shared in a group, and then people get overly excited. And then when it doesn't happen, all those naysayers get to point fingers at you and laugh. And they go, see? That's what they do all the time. That's why I don't do dates. That's why I don't do rates. The best we or I can do is take a look at what's going on in the news and make an educated guess on the process. So let's get into the news. Procedures for the central bank regarding the governor's signature on the Iraq currency. So it's just, again, you know, the new CBI governor is there. So just like anytime we get a new treasurer, they change the signature on the new currencies is all this is. So good, we know the new governor is in there. Deputy, the meeting of presidencies and leaders agreed to go to the middle circles. Okay, so this is talking about the elections and then making sure that they got the districts all figured out, the electoral districts, so that when they do their when they do their elections, they know how to break up the different 6 electoral districts and from 3 or 4 districts for the smaller governments. All right, so that's what they're doing. They're just mapping out the boundaries. That's pretty much what they're talking about. An expected session of the Iraq Parliament next Saturday. Okay, so next Saturday is going to be interesting. So there's a longer version of this article down below, and it's very detailed. Basically, what's happening is there's a lot of laws that need to be passed, and they need to be passed pretty quickly, because some of it affects what's going on in the budget, some of it affects what's going on next year in the election. Okay, not to get into all the details, it just covers a bunch of different sectors that they need to really focus on and make sure that they get funded for. Of course, you know, we talked about this, but in here anyway, it says, Halabasi during the parliament session today, it has become imperative to complete the electoral districts to implement a just and fair to conduct early elections that meet the aspirations of the people and express their will. Its agenda includes 1 paragraph dedicated to completing the electoral districts. That's kind of a little bit what we're talking about up above. All right, they have to make sure that they get all of the districts accounted for, and then they're going to go in and have it mapped out and be prepared for early elections next year. All right, so this is good. Again, Academic said that he promised to the United States that they would do early elections, and so he set a date, and now they're doing everything they can to make sure this goes through fair, transparent, and as quickly as possible. Okay, so the budget is covered for by borrowing and securing the salaries of employees and retirees. Okay, we know this is somewhat of an issue all the time, but again, it just goes on to talk about the new budget law for 2020. It's securing borrowing salaries for employees for the next 4 months. You know, that's basically what this is. This is talking about the 2020 budget, making sure that all the salaries are in there. As you know, the cabinet has already voted on and approved. It is now sent to Parliament. Parliament must go ahead and vote on this budget. Is what's going on. So it says the general budget law arrived yesterday, Monday, to the presidency and the Parliament, and it was not sent to the Finance Committee to review the articles and paragraphs and know the real numbers and data that the government adopted in the 2020 budget, adding that the general budget has become a reality for only 4 months and is not an actual one. Rather, it is covered by the financial borrowing laws to secure the disbursement of the salaries of the employees and retirees for the last few months. That's just part of it. Oh, here we go. The oil revenues for recent months amounted to $2 billion and $6 billion in addition to other revenues, so that the amount of revenues became $3 trillion. So not too bad. I mean, we're starting to get revenues from other places other than oil, although it's about 400 million. So we obviously need to see that get kicked up. So that's the whole thing about Iran getting back on her feet and taking care of this. So it is being done. So again, here we go. It's just making sure that the budget gets there is what they're talking about, and making sure that all the things they agreed upon are in there. Again, it's just, I guess the best way to put it's just like a bridge budget. Basically they're more focused on 2021. They just need to get this in there so they can talk about what salaries will be integrated into the 2021 budget. Right, that was the big deal. We know that, again, Erbil and Iraq need to iron out that agreement. I don't believe they can finish the 2021 budget at all without that agreement. So we've got to keep an eye on that as well. A new explosion targets the international coalition supply in Iraq. So again, another rocket launch, I think is what it was. They were talking about it earlier. I saw something about this on Stars and Stripes, which I like to read a lot. But they just took out another pocket near the Syrian border of ISIS. It was a decent-sized pocket of ISIS fighters. And so, as a matter of fact, we're starting to see now our focus is going after ISIS targets over in Syria right now. Anyways, let me finish this real quick. Attack has been repeated for weeks on columns of Iraq trucks carrying supplies for the U.S.-led coalition in incidences for which no party has claimed responsibility. However, Shiite factions close to Iran, led by the Iraq Hezbollah Brigade, have vowed to attack American forces in interest if they do not withdraw from the country, which is kind of funny because they already said they're withdrawn, so I don't get it. The Iraqi presidency and leader of the political blocs discussed the election and the budget and announced a position on bombing. All this is, again, is pretty much what I talked about before. They've already organized and are making sure all their ducks in a row for the early election. They're also making sure that everything is getting voted on for the 2020 budget and making sure that all the agreements are agreed upon for the 2021 budget. But they also are talking about, they're not just working on a 2021 budget. It's the 2021, 22, and 23 budgets. So I like that. Instead of procrastinating, let's just get it done. Okay, so they're going to do what they can to make sure that it's a free and fair election. They want to make sure that the United Nations, as well as other nations, come and supervise, because that will be a big help. And that's basically what this whole article is just going over what they need to do for the election and making sure that the budget is getting taken care of. Here's something that I think is interesting. Trump's representative in Iraq and Syria meet with the president of the Kurdistan region to discuss 3 files. So I have a feeling you're going to see something soon. Remember that Trump's working on a peace agreement? There's 7 other nations that are supposed to be coming aboard. I don't think he's named any of them. I'm trying to take a guess at them. Well, I'm not really guessing, but Syria is one of them, which is going to be interesting because I don't know how that agreement is going to come out. If you remember, it's under the Obama administration that they went after Syria. I think Trump doesn't see a reason to oust the president. Very interesting. So we'll see what happens. But the Syria are meeting with the Kurdistan leader because they want to talk about what they need to do to keep an eye on ISIS over there in Syria on their border to make sure that it doesn't come over and there's no problems. Again, in a statement, the U.S. Department, which was reviewed by the news regarding a visit of officials in Kurdistan, will discuss continuous coordination to reassure the final defeat of ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and in the continuous effort for stability in the liberated areas. So again, we like to see this, according to this statement, will affirm continued support for the Iraq forces, including the Peshmerga forces, in the war against ISIS, and renew America's commitment to a strong, sovereign, and prosperous Iraq. All right, you guys, so that's what's pretty much going on over there. There's not a whole lot at this very moment. To be quite honest, it's a little slow, not a whole lot. There's still little trickles of good news, but for now, Again, this is a pretty big time for us. It's close to the end of the month. Remember, the reform papers are supposed to be submitted by the end of this month. The 2020 budget was supposed to have already been voted on. The 2021 budget is coming. Now, the anticipation is that we are going to hear something about the Iraqi dinar rate in the reform papers. Now, there's no guarantee. We just know that they said it's going to be discussed. So I want to make sure that everybody's grounded. All right, hang tight. So again, I don't want you to be discouraged or overly encouraged. What I'm saying is we know that the Minister of Finance has said in the reform papers, there is discussions about the Iraqi rate and what that might be. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. We'll keep an eye on what's going on. And when the news comes out, I'll make sure to bring it to you. All right, you guys? So that's it for now. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it.